going on? What's going on? It is your boy, your host, Mr. High Noon Crypto himself, back to give y'all beautiful people another amazing episode, another great time, another great listen, and just another probably 20 minutes of my bullshit thoughts and opinions. And glad to see that some of y'all agree with me. Glad to see that some of y'all enjoy it. So I'm gonna keep on doing it. I'm gonna keep on producing just the things. Like I really don't have no process to this. I just literally get on here and talk, off the dome for 20 to 25 minutes, uh, and just try to put things in perspective from how I see it. Because as I said before, I'm really just your average crypto kind of guy. Like I'm in it. I just got in not too long ago. I enjoy it. I love learning about it. I love seeing just the different interactions and stuff. And it's not my fault that Hex has proven to be a superior product or whatnot. And that's what I'm in. I'm in post chain, but it's not my fault. I didn't make the cryptos itself. I didn't make everything else just seem less appeasing. I didn't make Rich Hart make a product. So that's where we're at. And that's what this channel is about. So today's episode is a little unique. I think this is going to be the first and maybe only, unless some crazy stuff happened, the actual episode that is about Mr. Richard Hart himself or whatnot. And I want to give him his props. I want to talk about some of the things I've noticed and seen, and just kind of speak some realness on it or whatnot. Because let's be honest, either you love them or you hate them, right? So you have the two extremes, the far left, the far right, and then you have the people in between, the people who like them, and the people that don't necessarily hate them, but they're like, I'm cool on them, and these things that's any human. Like, I would never follow anybody that's universally loved or universally hated, because whenever something is 100% one way, I'm like, yeah, that's obviously too good to be true. Whether they're universally loved or universally hated, because they're universally loved, it's usually some BS, and if they're universally hated, then there's obviously some slander and stuff against them to get you on the side of hate. So, Rich Hart he's an interesting person. Um, I kind of lied. I actually did do some real preparing for this episode per se. And what I did, I went back and I watched a bunch of old Rich Hart YouTube videos. I watched some from 2017, from 2019, 2020. And then, of course, everything after the post chain sacrifice when I got in. I've seen all of that. So I went and watched all the stuff before post chain, and then even back to the last crypto bull bear market. And I got to say this. Um, I am supremely confident in Richard Hart's ability to produce post chain, post X, and of course he's already produced X. But my confidence is, I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, listen, man, it's kind of wild because I don't feel like I should have been in this space. Um, I don't feel like I should have been blessed enough to know about this and be early to this party. Now, granted, I found Hex later, but I'm still early to it, if that makes sense. And being a day one post chain and post X sacrificer, every day it's a kind of a surreal thought to me because uh, I never felt like I should have been in this world, but yet here I am. So um, every time that I see Richard get on Twitter Spaces or do these interviews, and he's talking that talk, he's not talking about some of the other things that we're gonna touch on a little bit later, the outrage marketing and stuff. But when he's talking that talk, it makes me know that I've backed the right horse in this race. And if Post Chain doesn't come out and do like it's supposed to do, it's still a horse that I would back 100 times out of 100 times. Now, obviously, if I had a crystal ball and I could see in the future and I knew that it wasn't going to do well, then that's a different story. But you couldn't tell me otherwise that this wasn't a smart investment or whatnot. So, what do I mean by that when I'm saying, I'm confident, I'm more confident than ever. I'm over here telling my friends like, yo, we backed the right horse, man. We're gonna be rich as fuck, because I, that's what I'm in it for. I'm in it to get rich. I got a family to feed. I got people to depend on me, and they depend on me now without being crypto rich. But being crypto rich would make it a lot easier to help support those who need me to survive. There's a handful of people, and you know, I carry that because I'm able to. So that's why I go as hard as I do. And so I'm not in crypto for the fucking tech. I honestly couldn't care less about the tech. I think it's cool. I think it's a nice byproduct. If Hex becomes the next Bitcoin, hey, I'm cool with that. But I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, I'll buy Hex at 30,000 and make limp gains. Nah, I don't care about it that much. I'm in it for the money, and nobody should be ashamed of that. Nobody should ever feel like they're a bad person for wanting to be something that makes them a good bit of money. We do everything else for the money. We take jobs for the money. We get education for the money, or for the promises of making more money. Uh, so I don't know why crypto should be any different. I don't know why YouTube, like people who uh, make YouTube channels, like I don't get this. I mean, I'm a capitalist. I've grew up. I'm from America. I'm an American. I'm a capitalist. I'm not saying that you got to rob from the rich or rob from the poor to feed the rich or nothing like that. But if you want to go out and market yourself and make money, I have no problem with that. But you know, for those who don't feel that way, that's your opinion or whatnot. But that's cool. But even Rich Hard said, we're in it for the gains. He's in it for glory. He's already rich as fuck, but he acknowledges the gains. That's why he always talks about the 10,000x. He don't talk about 10,000x because it sounds good. He talk about 10,000x because it made a lot of people rich as fuck, and we come out here and we spread his gospel. That's why he talk about it. Because if it didn't do no 10,000x, he wouldn't be bragging about it. He wouldn't be bragging about how great Hex is. If everybody in Hex locked up their shit for 6 years, 6.5 years, and it didn't do the gains that it did, he would it's kind of like a moot point at that point. But anywho, see how quickly it is for me to get off a target. Let me go back to it. So I was watching a video of his yesterday, from 2017, where he was debating Roger Ver, right? And this is Richard, long hair, got on the nice blazer, nice silk shirt. He's not dressed with, he had on some jewelry, but it wasn't, really flashy and gaudy. He never once mentioned it. So we're looking at I can't even say he's a humble Richard or whatnot. We're just looking at a pre-Hex, I want to be the best person ever to exist in crypto space Richard. And he's also a hardcore Bitcoin maxi. He's constantly referring to Ethereum as a shitcoin and things of that nature as a scam and stuff like that. And he's debating Roger Ver, who he was under the assumption that Roger Ver was like pretty much Bitcoin Cash. He's a Bitcoiner. He made Bitcoin Cash. So he was pretty much talking to him as one of the people who was a Bitcoin maxi who had strayed the path. Sounds familiar? Sounds like what Richard becomes in a few years, right? But I'm listening to this man talk. And for one, his messaging has always been incredibly like razor sharp and accurate. He's not saying shit in 2017 that he's not saying now. He talks about Lightning Network. He talks about BlockFi and the block sizes increase and stuff like that. Things that he tells that these folks now. He's like, yes, I was a Bitcoin maxi until I realized that these things suck and these promises they wanted to deliver on, they could never deliver on. You know. So I'm listening to him talk about all these things, and it's kind of weird because, of course, I'm listening to the now first, and then I'm listening to the old Richard later. So I already know what he's going to, not even necessarily going to say, but his main talking points. But it's cool to see that he's not one of these people who you go dig up a video in 2017 and he was saying the exact opposite. No, his messaging has always been crystal clear. Down from the Bitcoin, down from what it can do, what it can't do, what we should want it to do. He's actively talking about like, no, we need to come up with ways to make Bitcoin better. We don't need to just fork it. We need to like, yes, let's approve these things to make it better. He's always been about innovation. He's always been trying about making it better. And then he gets to a point where he realized there is no making it better. He gets to a point where he realized these people are really not in it for Bitcoin itself. They it's a fashion thing. It's like I can go to the Met Gala or the Kentucky Derby. That's what the Bitcoin maxis are now. Like, you watch the Met Gala, you watch the Kentucky Derby. I don't even know what the Met Gala is. All I know is I see all the pictures and it's all nothing but A-list celebrities. It's a fashion statement, you know. The Kentucky Derby. Horse racing used to be the biggest sport damn near in America. It used to be baseball, boxing, and horse racing or whatnot. And that's how the Kentucky Derby came to its fame. Now you see all these folks going to the Kentucky Derby wearing these outlandish hats and stuff like that, and you're like, yeah, we don't even know about the horses. We don't we don't know nothing about it. Versus, that used to be. That was the attraction, the actual horse race itself. You know, um, but you see it. You see the evolution, and you see that this is literally a guy. So when folks come on, Mr. Johnny come lately, all these Twitter folks who hide behind fake profiles, and all these folks who just got into crypto, just like I did, or whatnot, and they come out and they try to prove that this guy, like the Richard, is not who he say he is. It's kind of ridiculous or whatnot, right? So that's 2017 Richard. Then I watched a video what he did with BitBoy 4 days before Big Payday. So now we're in 2020 or whatnot, and he's wearing the Hex shirt, and he don't got the long hair. He's already created Hex, obviously, and Hex is doing very well. I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm listening. Watching him and BitBoy talk, and he's sharp. He's articulate, and he's on the money about what is to come with Hex. He saw it happening before it came. Now, most of it you could contribute that as, hey man, he made this coin. He should talk, positively about it, right? So yeah, so he made this coin. He should talk positively about it, right? And part of that is true. I mean, if Richard ever got on there and started trashing Hex and calling it trash and everything like that, I would be worried. But at the same time, too, I feel like watching that and then then fast forwarding, to post chain sacrifice all time high and even to today, he was just saying what he believed could happen. And he believed these things because he knows how, markets work, he know how order books work, he know how liquidity work, he know how all these things work. And he's like, he's talking about how they popularized Uniswap. He's talking about how they popularized, a bunch of things as hexagons, which have been proven to be true. Um, right now, I think maybe it was like last week, they was pretty much saying, hey, the most on-chain volume that's not Ethereum or stablecoins is Hex. So all the narratives that people were pushing, Hex has low volume. Well, yeah, it's staked. How can Hex have the most on-chain volume and people were locking up for 6.5 years and it's a bear market? I mean, what more proof do people need to see? Uh, it's kind of crazy. I do feel like I live in the matrix sometimes, a lot of times, because I look at Hex, I look at just all the data on it. I look at everything. I look from the stakers. I look from to the OA. I look at all this stuff, and just without doing no deep forensic scientist kind of dive, it's just it's baffling that quote unquote reputable people would come on the internet and say the things that the people say. Uh, Now, whatever you choose to believe about the financial system as a whole, is immaterial because it's what is out there, and we can only move based off of the rules that have been established for it. So while you may think that everything is a Ponzi, and maybe everything is a Ponzi, that still don't negate the fact that that's how everything in this world works. So you can be a martyr and die on that hill of everything is a Ponzi, and so I'm just not going to um, participate, or you can be a realist and realize that, hey, if Richard always says that CDs and stores of money is worth more than printed cash, and so Hex is supposed to mimic that kind of financial instrument that buying, holding, and locking up your money is an incredibly useful and very popular tool. So when people say the only features Hex have is to buy, stake, and hold, well, yeah, because it's proven to be very successful. It's proven to have made a lot of money. It's proven to have preserved a lot of wealth. Uh, Banks and stuff would never offer it if it wasn't a highly used. Think about any item or anything that gets discontinued because it's not used enough. So if you mean to tell me that literally locking up your money in a bank for yield, for interest, wasn't a popular thing, banks wouldn't do it. If they weren't making money off it, they're not going to do it. Because, I mean, that's the rub, right? They make money off of everything they do. There's not a single instrument that the bank offers you in which they don't make their money first or whatnot. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this interview from 2020, and he's talking about all this. I'm like, wow, like, this is really, really on the money. This is some really, um, like, not like, the word eludes me. I don't want to say a prophet, but like a fortune teller. Like, he really does have a fucking crystal ball over there. He knows how this shit's gonna go. Um, but yet, we look back on the things and we realize, like, hey, how many times does a person have to be right in the things they say before we stop with the doubting, right? Now, I'm not sitting up here saying we should deify this man at all. I'm just saying that we need to be more cognizant of what is actually happening in real time that we are a part of. I was just thinking the other day about Hex's all-time high price of like 56 cents, right? And then I was looking at CoinGecko because I was trying to prove a point to some of my friends about, hey, the last bear market, if you'd have just bought, blue chip cryptos, you did pretty well the next bull market. And I was looking at Polygon Matic, and you could have got some of that for a penny 2 cents for a long time. It traded at that price. And then during the bear market, or excuse me, during the bull market, DeFi summer, it got up to $2.95. So you talking about almost a 300x, right? And then if you look at its chart, it had an all-time low of like 0.0020 and a three or whatnot. So you can see that it went up a lot, specifically from the bear market to the bull market. So I'm sitting over here thinking like Hex is at right at the time of this recording like 5 cents. We got a high of 56 cents. So we're talking about roughly another 10x to get to all-time high, 50 cent. And then a bull market comes, we could potentially see another 10x. That's literally only 100x from today's lows. So if you're talking about Polygon Matic doing a 300x, I'm not even saying a 300x. We could see $5 hex next bull market, and it's not that unreasonable. We have large amounts of hex that have been taken off the market during this bear cycle. We have Maxi, which had minted another OA. You have the Hex Investment Trust that minted another OA. That they're attempting to, and then you have the post chain and post X sacrifice, which is essentially another OA. They sacrificed a lot of hex, and I'm looking at Richard in his old interviews, and he's talking about just coins not moving help the price increase drastically when you take them out of circulating supply. It does that. It has that effect. Supply and demand. If you take away a large percentage, of the supply, and then there's demand for it, the price goes through the roof. He's saying this back in 2020, and I mean, it's not like that's some wild, a Nobel Prize for game theory, a beautiful mind kind of knowledge he's saying, but it's proving, it's coming to fruition, the things that he was saying in reference to Hex and why Hex can flip Bitcoin's market cap, in the future. And it's just kind of crazy. He's really put this together. Um, his marketing, whether you like it or not, outrage marketing, it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna tell you why the outrage marketing doesn't matter, and why I don't even get upset at it. And I actually wish he would go. I wish he would go further. Like Richard, if you happen, if somebody, I wish if somebody clipped this and give it to Richard. Richard, you know what kind of outrage marketing I want to see? I want to see you with like 10 bad women, just really fine dime pieces on a boat or something, pouring some expensive champagne on you. I want you to hang out with some rappers. I want you to hang out with some ain't shit rappers, and I want you to be out here flexing hard like that. That's the kind of outreach marketing I want to see. Boy, now let's go above and beyond the Call of Duty at this point. Let's make them really mad. That's the kind. So if anybody can get this to Richard, please put it on your to do list, please, Mr. Hart. Uh, but the outrage marketing don't matter when you write, man. It don't. It really doesn't matter. You can go out and do the wildest, most outlandish shit, but when you're right, it doesn't matter. Uh, to put in perspective, think about everything Kanye West has done, said, or just done or said. Whether it was the Bush don't like black people, whether it was wearing the MAGA hat, um, you know, whether it was being with Kim K. Think about this. Think about all these things, all these just crazy sound bites, all these crazy viral moments, and he's one of the richest black people in America. You know, he has one of the most successful clothing brands in America, especially footwear. So you mean to tell me that he can do all this stuff and his popularity has never been higher, his net worth has never been higher? So what? So, but he's winning because he's right. Kanye, when you peel back all the dumb shit he do and say, he actually drops a lot of real useful information. Whether it's marketing, whether it's owning your own masters, whether it's owning the factories that produce the clothing and stuff like that, the getting the raw materials. These are all very useful information that the average person can't even comprehend or whatnot. So in the same breath, when I hear Richard get on there and talk about making a blockchain, making a wallet, not your keys, not your coins, immutable coding and stuff like that. The average person, not even the average crypto person, but the average person can't even comprehend these things or whatnot. But he's right. So the outreach marketing is going to bring eyes to him. And then when he's right and he's winning hard as hell, people are going to flock late for whatever reason. That's what people like to do. So um, just watching the evolution and just in YouTube, like I wasn't even around like when he was really on his bag, but just even from his style, like Humble Richard, watching him with the top hat and watching him with the when he's dressed nice on stream, dressed sharp, and he's talking he's technical talk, he's breaking stuff down. Yeah, he may be using some foul language, but whatever. That who cares about that? But he's breaking down the information and stuff, and it's like, yeah, it was cricket chirp. Nobody gave a fuck, you know. Um, and now to see him bragging, being right, calling the top on the day, like let's put this in perspective, all right? I want to talk about the top call real quick. This is what makes the top call just so why I really fool with it or whatnot. When it's not easy to be the one going against the grain, especially when you're in a public space, especially when everybody is waiting for this man to fall flat on his face for anything he does or say. And you can tell that the people they're taking their victory laps on Hex right now, because Hex is down during a bear market with everything else. Literally everything is down, and yet the only thing that any of the haters talk about is Hex. They don't talk about no other coin. They don't talk about nothing or whatnot. And all Richard does is tell people, "Hey, I called the top on the day. I tried to save you." And what he's really saying is like, listen, these people who y'all follow in these crypto spaces, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They haven't been in these spaces long. They don't know nothing about mining. They don't know nothing about none of this stuff. The only thing they know how to do is look at a chart and then pump their own bags. Versus me, I'm going to tell you, hey, if everything dies when Bitcoin dies, and I'm saying this is the top of Bitcoin market, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that means everything is finna die. Now, as I said earlier, he can't come out and say anything negative against Hex because he created it. Uh, that wouldn't be a good look. He is, at the end of the day, a marketer, and he is marketing a product to the world. And of course, if he said anything negative about Hex, everything else he's ever said will be ignored, and they will soundbite that to death. Oh, scammer! He admits that his coin's a scam. You already know what they would say. But he is over here telling people. He said no. Why everybody else is telling you that it's going to 100K to buy now, buy at 60,000, buy at 50,000, buy at 40,000. On the rebound, on the way up and stuff like that. He's saying no. I'm telling you that when this happens, this usually follows. And so you might want to get out of the crypto markets right now. You might want to save yourself. You might want to take your keys off these centralized exchanges. You might want to do all these things. And the brilliance of it is that why shouldn't he brag about being right? Now, in Hex, the proper way to do Hex is to be staked or whatnot. But if you weren't staked, you should have sold your Hex when he called a Bitcoin top. So people who thought rather hook or crook that Hex was decorrelated from Bitcoin, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But you don't really want to. Hex is not strong enough name wise as far as like worldwide recognition to go toe to toe with Bitcoin. Now, in a crypto foundational sense, I think it is. Or whatnot. I think it is for its own unique reason. But just as a normal, what makes sense market wise, you have to think that people who are highly leveraged in Bitcoin or who have large position in Hex are probably large position in Bitcoin and other things too. That as soon as the market, the total market, stocks, commodities, everything start turning for shit, that they were caught between a rock and a hard place and fire selling everything. And that's why we had a huge Hex sell off also, along with people just, having weak hands. So he's calling the top. He's talking about mining. He's talking about, I'm listening to him talk about, in the Twitter spaces, and he's saying, I read their list of critical vulnerabilities. I know exactly what the devs are saying is wrong with Bitcoin. I know coding. I know that the things that y'all are bragging about are not really great things to brag about. Those are critical vulnerabilities. So he's talking about all this. He's talking about wanting to make the world a better place. He has proven, verifiable videos, timestamps, everything of him. This is not some new gimmick he pulled out of his butt. These are things that he's been talking about for years, before anybody knew him, before he created Hex. And yet this is how he's rewarded. He's rewarded by all his contemporaries. Actually, they're not even contemporaries. I don't really even know nobody who should even be allowed to speak with him, minus the Hoskins, whatever his name is, the Vitalics. These people who've actually created something that has done well. Like if you haven't created nothing, you shouldn't even have his name in your mouth. As if you can talk to him as if he's your peer. That'd be like, you know, some basketball player trying to talk to Michael Jordan. Like there's only a couple people who could offer a critique about Michael to his face, and they have to have had some accolades like him. Ain't none of that analyst stuff. So it's like I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know, just kind of just taking a second back. I'm just taking a step back. I'm trying to internalize it, and I'm just like looking like this guy's been right for years. It's going on 5 years now, or whatnot. Bitcoin Maxi updated his worldview. He always talks about it. He said, I updated my worldview. He said, I left Bitcoin because Bitcoin don't care about me. Think about that. He's saying Bitcoin promised us these things to make this network better, more efficient, faster, less fees and everything. And they flat out, they just didn't, they stopped caring about it. It became a money grab. It became a popularity contest. It became cheek. It became the it thing this season. It became the Met Gala. It became the Kentucky Derby. So I pivoted. I left it, just like all the other smart people did. We got off this boat. We got off this sinking ship. And we decided to go out and we decided to try to create something better. Because staying where we was at, it's not gonna do us anything. Everybody's starting to call out the Bitcoin maxis for trying to get government involved in Bitcoin. The opposite of why Bitcoin was created. I thought I was going crazy. I thought like for a while I've been seeing it. I'm like, wow, these guys are really applauding the ETF and grayscale Bitcoin and stuff. Like, what? That's ridiculous. You know? And so I'm just sitting back and I'm like, wow, watching these videos. I'm just nodding, listening, you know, and I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, man, we about to be rich as fuck over here, man. We have backed the right horse. We have backed the right horse so fucking good, and we're about to be so rich, and we're about to live in a time of abundance, as Crypto Heartbeat always says, and it's just so plainly obvious to me. That's what it is. It's plainly obvious that we're about to win so hard, and we're gonna win so hard and so fast that it's gonna be blinding. And about time the rest of the crypto space has a chance to really like you ever like stepped outside and the sun just really hits you hard and it takes your eyes a second to adjust or whatnot. By the time they're able to adjust what happened, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be too late for them, but it's gonna be they're gonna come in. They're gonna pump our bags even higher because they yeah. It's it's about to be a great time we're living in. So yeah, Eve 2.0 doesn't even lower gas fees, and yet I still see people talking about they can't wait for Eve 2.0 to come out because the gas fees will be lower. So yeah, how can we not win? How can we not be right there at the edge, ready to dive into the pool of gold to bloom Scrooge McDuckian style? Yeah, yeah. Amazing times, amazing times. Shout out to everybody who's in it because we're gonna be in it to win it, um, and we're gonna win hard. And if they thought Hexicans were annoying now, just you wait. But yeah, that's all. I didn't talked enough. I didn't rambled enough. Shout out to Rich Hart, man. Shout out to him. If you on here and you listening to me and you don't like him, you don't like Hex, I sincerely challenge you to go back and just revisit your biases why you don't like him. I'm telling you, this if you don't like him because he's braggadocious and he's arrogant and stuff, go watch some of the 2017 videos when he was uh, just a I don't mean this in a negative derogatory way, but he's what you would call a corny computer nerd in those videos or whatnot. Um, and if you go back and watch those videos and you still come to the same conclusion, then I can't help you. Sorry, you're just not meant to be in this ecosystem. You're meant to keep on doing the same thing that you're doing and being wrecked the same way that you're probably wrecked right now. But other than that, y'all, that's my time. That's my ramble. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay easy. And until the next time, is your boy, and I am out.